Well, my incredible mind is telling me to segue into Clone Wars. So this week we did 2 episodes. We did The Hidden Enemy, Truth Enlightens the Mind but Won't Always Bring Happiness to Your Heart, and Blue Shadow Virus. Fear is a disease, hope is its only cure. What do you guys think of The Hidden Enemy? Should we do The Hidden Enemy first?
Let's do The Hidden Enemy. I thought it was alright. I thought it was nice to see that. Well, I was a bit confused at first, but it was nice to see that they, the clones. There's other clones that kind of had their own agenda. I thought it was interesting that one of the clones sort of said that he felt like going, cashing in and trying to sell out the Jedi was to help his brothers in the clones because he felt enslaved by the Jedi. I thought that was interesting, but I was just a bit confused by. I think you explained this to me a little bit, Matt, that because obviously the Bad Batch are unique in that they have their own, opinions and things in terms of generally the clones, whereas I feel like that I'm not sure about the other clones don't they usually follow orders more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this feels like it contradicts.
I was a bit confused by that, yeah.
Particularly after last week, we had that whole discussion about Crosshair and how it's about his inhibitor chip that's making him evil. And even in this week's Bad Batch episode, we had sort of a bit of a question of whether he's going to get redeemed down the line. Tarkin was talking about, do we have to keep doing this procedure? How long is he going to remain loyal, kind of thing. And I thought it was interesting that last week we spoke about how is it potentially more interesting for Crosshair to switch of his own accord. And then, of course, this week we got that in The Hidden Enemy. And I do think it was a way more interesting play to see, as you say, Charlie, to hear a clone say, I don't feel like the Jedi are protecting me, or I don't want to serve them.
Yeah.
In terms of continuity, I'm not sure how it works with the inhibitor chips, if they're always controlled, or it's just when Palpatine initiates something. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see
so
I see what you mean, yeah.
But
I think it's a bit like Bucky.
But it wasn't explicitly ever said, like, I feel like it would work if they'd said, like, activate the inhibitor chips or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But there's no evidence that they've turned them on. If that, like, it's said as if they've always been there and they're always compliant because of these chips. And the Bad Batch is special. The Bad Batch is special because they don't have them.
Yeah.
But
they have delved into that in the Clone Wars. And the way I see it is, like, you're saying, like, there's no initiation code. To me, it's like, like in BioShock, would you kindly do this? In Civil War, Freight Train, Homecoming, and then in Star Wars, it's Order 66.
66, yeah. I agree.
So you
the
think
words
66
communicate.
So you think the clones' inhibitor chips coming on is part of Order 66?
I'm pretty sure that's explicitly stated in the Clone Wars show, in the canon. Yeah, so, like, it's not a conscious thing.
Right.
Gotcha. Like at the end of at the end of Clone Wars Series 7, they're trying to get the chip out of Rex. I think.
No, but
it's been a while since I've seen it.
Spoilers.
I'm pretty sure that was it, wasn't it? At the end of
something like that. It's been a while since I watched it.
Yeah, there was a question, wasn't there, over like they need to make sure Rex has free will as well,
right?
Kind of thing. So it's definitely something that's always been there. I don't see it as a retcon, but I do agree with you in the sense that it's weird to have this episode that's about their free will. And then we've gone the boring route with Crosshair by making it that it's about his inhibitor chip.
Yes, it's very weird. I was very confused by that. I think that... I did like, though, that we were getting this sort of cross-cut with Anakin, Obi Wan, and the Sarge Ventress. I thought that was quite... That was good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Yeah.
I loved it when she forced through... They were in a library and she forced through a load of books and then they catch the books, throw the books back.
They were chucking knowledge at each other.
They were dropping knowledge. They were literally dropping knowledge.
I actually am really, really liking Asajj Ventress. I think she's a really great character and it's really nice to see like a strong and sexy female character and that like a nobody...
Whoa. Terry, are you saying you find that cartoon sexy?
Well, no, but she's meant to be sexual, isn't she? Like, look at what she's wearing, like, and the way she talks. Like, it's meant to be sexy, isn't it? Like,
I see what you mean in the sense that
it's like,
she's coded as sexy in
yes.
the same way, like Marge Simpson is supposed to be coded as sexy in The Simpsons.
Do you think? Is she?
Yeah,
She
like,
used to
it's-
be, didn't she? She used to be like buff, and then Marge.
But I still think she's supposed to be like, because all of like his friends at the power plant can't understand why Homer is married to Marge. Do you know what I mean? Like the way I see it is always like, even though they're yellow, like cartoon characters, the series says to me that Marge is an attractive woman in the show. That's why like Lenny and Carl are always jealous and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
She was really attractive at college, and Homer was like a loser who she took a shine
This is what
to.
people say to me at the power plant all the time. You know, they can't understand why we're together. I can't hear
Marge
you. My
Simpson,
headphones
Matt
are
Simpson.
Wasn't
I should get
Homer...
that
Oh,
blue
I
hair.
meant that you were Homer and I was Marge. I wasn't calling you Marge.
Doe.
Wasn't Homer a bit... I thought Homer was like one of the like jocks. Or am
I think
wrong in
he's
that?
like, yeah, but I think it's in the sense of like, you know, like in 21 Jump Street where Channing
Yeah.
Tatum's cool, but then as soon as they step out into the real world, he's a
Definitely.
loser.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
It's weird how
Yeah.
like that happens in America way more than England. Like people become like high school celebrities, if that makes sense. And then as soon as they leave high
Yeah.
school, they're just not that anymore. But that doesn't seem to happen so much over here.
No, it doesn't. I was cool at school and now I'm cool now.
Same.
I love how Charlie gave the little laugh because he obviously was there through all of my school years from nursery and knows my sliding scale of cool was never consistent.
You were kind of cool because you knew Charlie, though, weren't you? So
Yes, I remember vividly. For those of you, unaware of our time at Welling School, when we commenced, Charlie was sort of in the hard crew, even though we were friends at primary school, and I was in like the nerdy sort of clique in year 7. And I remember he came up to me in front of all the hard kids, who obviously didn't know me, and you sort of have that relationship at school, don't you, where like the hard kids, because they're coded as the hard kids, might beat you up. Might not beat you up. It depends what day of the week it is. Depends how it goes. And I remember he came up to me and really loudly in front of them was like, "Matt, do you want to play Lego on Saturday?" And they all looked at me like, we can't make fun of this. We can't make fun of this because Charlie's also hard. And I was like, yeah, sure.
I just want to clarify, we were at an age where we probably... Not that you should ever stop playing with your Lego, but society sees it that by the age of year 9, you shouldn't be playing
Yes.
with your Lego.
Yes.
But, so it was... Yeah, I guess.
But of course, when you would say playing with Lego, what you meant was we'd make some stop motion.
Yes, we did.
But
We used to make
obviously,
some stop motion.
you never clarified to them because you didn't care. You just went, "Do you want to play Legos?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right."
I think Matt's giving me too much credit because Matt's always been a very funny man, and I think that I think that he gives me too much credit in the sense that I think people liked him because he was a bit of a piss taker in terms of in the class, a bit of a joker, but also, he got things done. And I think people liked you for that. I think you give yourself not enough
do
credit.
you two
for
want
that,
a
so.
moment alone? Just gassing each other up a little bit.
I do vividly remember I went on a school trip and like none of like my friendship group at the time really wanted to go, but I really wanted to go on the trip, so I went anyway. But it meant that when I got on the trip, I didn't have any friendship group really, and I got put in like a dorm with like a load of people that were close to Charlie. They were cooler than me. This was like year 8 or whatever. And I remember I made them like laugh over the trip. And Charlie came back and told me, he was like, "Yeah, they kept saying how funny you were." And I remember thinking, yes, the cool kids think I'm cool. I'm not a complete loser.
That's really endearing.
Yeah, but you know what, look, you come into your own across school, and then when you leave school, you realise that, there's a whole new clique system at wherever you go next, wherever you go to uni or college or whatever.
I think it comes down to, if there's kids out there, I think it comes down to you're struggling with this. I think it comes down to being yourself and being sure of who you are. If you're sure of who you are and being yourself, people won't fuck with you.
Yeah.
That was true of Matt, I think. I know he gives me credit, but I think he knew who he was at school, and people are, particularly bullies, feel threatened of that. They only pick on weak people, or people they consider weak, mentally weak, people who are not sure of themselves. So yeah, just fucking be you, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. And I think you're completely right. And also, I think those kind of the clique society hierarchy at school dissolves the older you get. Do you know what I mean? Like there's people that like in year 7 wouldn't give you the time of day because you weren't as cool as them, or they'd be rude to you. And then by the time you come to year 11, everyone's getting on, everyone's chatting. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think that is a really nice.
I feel like we
part of
had
school. At least the school we had.
very different school experiences. We had very different experiences at school, but we digress. How did we get from Ventress to Simpsons to school? I don't quite know.
The nature of the podcast.
There was some Lego in there.
Some
somewhere.
Lego too. We'll just should we just go back to Ventress?
Yeah. Yeah, Terry, you're quite cool within your cliquey uni circles. I'd say you eventually.
I
you
was
didn't stay the bully kid
eventually.
forever.
You know, it took. I had to go up from the ugly duckling. You know.
Yeah.
But it's character building, which is what people who weren't bullied like to say to people who were bullied, to make them feel like it was worth something. But just
Yes. Yeah.
don't bully
Yeah.
people. It would be my advice.
I mean, I think with bullying, people that have ever said anything really nasty to me at school or were really bullying, I feel like enough time has passed and I understand that we were children. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
we weren't fully formed people, so do you know what I mean? I don't hold grudges on any of that sort of stuff. Like, I look back on it, like, if I was bumping someone that I thought was a bully at school, I wouldn't harbour that resentment.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
And you don't realise
it doesn't matter to me anymore.
I
don't
don't
realise
think you
what's going on
guys.
in other people's homes. Like,
No, I
for
get
example,
that.
The people that Matt's talking about that I was friends with at the time that could be considered bullies at times, were also being like beaten by their parent, one of their parents, their dads, and bullied at home. And I think a lot of people that carry that into school and see that as almost. They don't know any different in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I'm not making excuses for bullies, but...
No, I do understand that. I just
yeah.
think that like a lot of times bullying is life changing for a lot of people.
I agree,
and
yeah.
I don't think you guys, on a serious note, from the way we've spoken, I don't think you guys were really bullied at school.
No.
No.
You know, and I really think there's no excuse for making other children's lives living hell.
I agree.
Because there were times at school that me and my friends, our lives were made hell by other children, and that
Yeah.
stays with you for a long time. And I just don't think there's any excuse for it. And I probably still wouldn't give those people the time of day. I probably wouldn't even talk to those people. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the severity and how long ago it was.
No, of course.
I apologise in the sense that I think what I was referring to is more like
no, I totally understand where you're coming from. I just think
Yeah.
I think that you're talking from your experience, which is
I'm
what
talking-
all
I'm-
anyone can do.
I'm talking about the guy that I might have had a fight with in year 8 and I took a tumble, or the guy that might have called me a CUNT randomly and then never spoke to me again.
But
Or, do
that's
you know what I
not
mean? Like,
bullying,
those-
is it? That's just kids being kids. I would
Well, I
say.
suppose, but in the sense that there are power structures at school, and there are certain kids that are untouchable, or have an older brother that's hard.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and do you know what I mean? I was talking about those sort of interpersonal relationships and the way
Yes.
kids bully every day on a micro scale, whether they're the bullies or not.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, you're talking more about like a concerted effort from one person onto another
Yes.
over a period of time. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. And I don't want to sit here and be like, I was bullied. It's not like a woe is
but I
me thing. I
understand
just think like the bottom line
Yeah.
is like just don't be a dick to other people.
you're right.
And
Yeah.
that translates through to being an adult. Like you still go into workplaces, there's still people who try and bully other people. It
can't
still
stand bullying.
happens. No,
Can't
exactly.
stand
It
it.
still happens on an adult level, which is really sad. And those people never grew up out of high school and still think it's okay. But
Interesting that you said that. How would you feel? You said like obviously I wouldn't give these people the time of day. If you bumped in someone that you feel like was a bully at school, and they were giving you the time of day, and then they said something like, I'm really sorry by the way for how I treated you, or if I said these things, or that would be a different story.
I think that, there's always an opportunity for people to have second chances. And I think, if those people genuinely came to me and was like, I'm really, really sorry for the things I put you through when we were at school, I would accept that. And I would see, you can tell when people being genuine, when people have grown, when people really do regret the things. But you can also tell when people aren't being genuine. And do you know what I mean? So I think it's a case by case thing. And I think, if somebody who was really horrible to me at school, like sent me a message, because I think most people I went to school with live up north, There's very few of us actually like down south now. But I think
Sorry to hear that. I'm joking.
Are you sorry because they're all up north and they live up in the north? Is that what you're
Look,
trying to get at?
Terry, as two southern boys, and you're my northern girlfriend, I've got to make northerner jokes. Like, at least once a week.
It's in the contract.
We love the north.
It's in the contract. Yeah.
Yes. No, it's true. It's true.
We love the north. We love a good deep fried Mars bar. But,
And of course, I have to make the joke that you guys pretend to be London boys when you're actually Kent boys. So
we're London
true.
boys.
It's not true.
Welling is in Kent.
It's not. If you look on Wikipedia, it sits in between. So
yeah, the postcode might be Kent, but the heart is pure Greater London.
yes,
right?
yes, we're surrounded by a lot of popular South London areas.
I love how you can leave school but you'll still be trying to be popular no matter what.
True,
Yeah,
it's true.
We live near all the cool areas.
It's true. But also, if you are being bullied out there, I can't recommend martial arts enough for yourself. 100%.
I thought you were going to stop at I can't recommend martial arts. If you're being bullied, I can't recommend martial arts.
No, I mean, I can't.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
Oh right, yeah. I can't recommend it enough. I think it empowers people, and
No, of course.
I think it definitely helped me get through school, and not get the more confident you are, the less people fuck with you.
Yes, I agree. And also, I think sometimes with bullies, that they're looking to get something out of you, and if you just don't give them the thing that they want, I find 9 times out of 10, they won't know what to do with themselves and might even walk away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But also, you've got to remember that it's not, as Charlie said, it's not always, like, if you are being bullied at school, it's not always about you necessarily, and it's easy to sit there and say, oh, just don't give them the time of day, because when someone's pushing your buttons as a teenager with all those hormones, like, it's hard not to react.
Oh no, listen to me. I'm not saying if they don't hit you, if they hit you, hit them back,
if they hit
right?
you, bam.
That's what my mum always taught me. I completely stand by that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone's attacking you, defend yourself. But I mean, in the sense, like,
if they say something, you don't have to fly off the handle. Yeah.
No, it's not so much that. It's more like if they, when like a bully is trying to get you to say a certain thing or admit to a certain thing, or do you know what I mean? They're trying to get something out of you that they can then bully you about. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, if you cleverly respond in a way that shuts what they wanted down, I find 9 times out of 10 in my experience through life, that bullying person will be dumbfounded or won't know what to say, or will feel silly, and then that's when 9 times out of 10 I find it gets shut down.
So now
because most of the time, sorry,
go on.
I was just saying, most of the time these people, something is lacking from their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That's why
Absolutely.
they need to.
It's not about
That's why they
you.
need to dominate other people.
100%.
So now we've had a nice discussion about bullying.
About bullying.
yeah.
I just wanted to chuck a couple of my notes over this episode before we move on to Blue Shadow Virus. My sweet is what Kenobi referred to Asajj as. And when we were watching it, I heard Terry go, my sweet.
But they they totally flirt with each other. She's like, oh, Obi Wan Kenobi, and he's like, my sweet.
Here I thought this mission would be unpleasant.
The pleasure's all mine, my dear Obi Wan.
Like,
They do.
they totally. I bet they put their lightsabers down at the end of the day. He takes off his Jedi robe, she takes off her Sith robe, and they just go to town.
They walk into town naked. Why did they get their clothes
No,
off?
just without their cloaks. I didn't say clothes. I just said clothes.
Oh, okay. So they head into town for a fun evening.
Yes, and they just spend all night in town together.
Just really
Playing with their lightsabers.
That's
no,
it,
they put their
that's it,
lightsabers
that's
away. They've got their backup lightsabers, if you catch my drift.
This is one for Charlie. I've got written in capital letters, Nibar. does that ring a bell for you? The clone troopers.
Oh yes, it does.
I remember that.
That was the hidden enemy episode where he's getting attacked by one of the clone troopers, and he's on his back, and he does a bit of a bullshit sweep with his legs, and then he gets some guy in a knee bar in Star Wars. I was like, okay, we've got some.
So the initial bit was bullshit, and then he does a proper move.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, I might have to go back. It didn't look very legit. It could have been. But from what I see, I mean, it could have been a pendulum sweep, but I don't know if it was. But
Well, you
Yeah,
know what? When you're in the edit,
I'll have a little cut.
and then, and then you can put a little asterisk and say what you think it is, or if it's a complete bullshit move.
I'm like, if I'm chatting shit or not.
And before we go, or before we indeed move on to the next episode, I just love the way the Separatists are referred to as the Seppies.
Yes, that is funny.
Seppies.
The Seppies, clankers.
The clankers.
Clankers. Eat laser, clanker.
I'm very excited to talk about this next episode, I must admit.
Yes.
Yes.
Blue Shadow Virus. A fun Jar Jar episode again with Padme.
Yep.
Padme and Jar Jar leading most of the episode, and also Captain Typho, who I want to talk about in a little bit. And then they're later joined by Anakin and Obi Wan. So our heroes for this episode have got to stop a virus that has the potential. It's they thought it was eradicated, didn't they? And it turns out this scientist, Dr. Vindi, has still got some, and he's planning to unleash it. And Obi-Wan says at one point that, like, you know, forget the Clone Wars, this could ravage the entire galaxy. I'm sure those of you sitting at home that have spent the entire year in your flat will empathise with something like that. Yeah, so I thought it was a really interesting, different set of stakes for a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
We've never really dealt with, like, do you know what I mean, like viruses and the idea of like a plague doctor, and you know, he's not force sensitive, is he? He's just a very brilliant scientist who is pitted against Padme and the crew.
Do you think
Sounds like Compare the Meerkat.
Welcome to comparethemeerkat.com IT department. Sergey was wiped from the galaxy generations ago, but I have given it life once again.
He does.
I think it's interesting how. No, I had a point and I completely lost it. Can you just cut that out? Sorry.
Oh no, we can still get it. We got it.
Comparethemeerkat.com.
Come
I
on.
had-
It's because you were about to say
yes.
it, and then
Yes,
we
I
had
have
a
it.
meerkat.
Okay.
Good.
I was sat there thinking, you know how like it's little blue vials of liquid?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Why is it every time we have like some sort of liquid that's a target, it's a little blue vial? Like,
Yeah.
and also I
I-
wonder if there was like a history. This was my actual point. I remember it fully now. I wonder if there is a history of like galaxy-wide pandemics and things like that.
In Star Wars.
Like, obviously not in canon, if that makes sense. Like, we've never seen it, but I think it would be like something interesting to explore. Like, Padme is like giving like relief to like different places to help with this virus and stuff like that. I think that would be fun.
Canon is so wide and far-reaching, and indeed non-canon is even further and even further reaching. There could have very well been a plague storyline, and in fact, in the comments, if anyone knows of any Star Wars plague/pandemic storylines, please let me know.
I'd like to hear.
But yeah, it does feel very fresh, at least in the context of Clone Wars, and also just like we're getting Jar Jar doing a bit of the slapstick, which I think he's perfect for in this series. Padme leading the plot, but then we also get like fun little asides, like we meet this new character, you know, the female Gungan who's feeding those cute cow things from Attack of the Clones, and then she joins the fray. Like I just thought it was a very fun episode, and the Dr. Vindi is just a hilarious antagonist. He was keeping me entertained from start to finish.
Oh, I was loving it.
You two were
Absolutely
giggling
loved it.
so much. It was great. It was great to watch.
Well, even when he wasn't getting excited with his yes, I just thought he was like the perfect conniving, mustache-twirling villain for my 20-minute Star Wars cartoon. Do you know what I mean?
I 100% agree. And like,
Absolutely.
I love that they emphasised that. Like, they went so like with the like pushing canted angles of his face, like wow, and I've got this. Like, it was so like theatrical. It was brilliant.
Yeah. No, it was very good. Yes. And he does sound like the Madagascar.
He really does.
Yeah.
Well, you guys said meerkat. In Madagascar, it's a lemur. So are you talking
but-
about compare the meerkat, or are you talking about the lemur?
Both. They both sound similar.
Both.
Yeah, they do both sound the same.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah,
Maybe
so-
it's the same voice actor. Who knows?
Well, Sacha Baron Cohen did the one in Madagascar. But
Yeah, I doubt he does compare the meerkat.
yeah, yeah.
Is compare the meerkat? Is compare the meerkat only English?
I was thinking about that when I said
know.
it.
So
I don't
if
know.
those
Compare the
of you
market,
who-
compare the meerkat.
Yeah, those of you who aren't English, there's like a comparison website for insurance, and it's called Compare the Market. But the like marketing campaign is. Are you all right, Matt?
Are you getting
Yeah,
sold?
sorry, you just.
You're getting promo money for
Which,
this.
'cause-
Terry.
yeah, you were talking about compare the market and an insurance, and I just
Sorry, I was just adding context for those who don't know what Compare the Market is. And the ad campaign was these meerkats that say comparethemeerkat.com. That's all. Alexander, he's called.
Well, Terry, my plan was for the bit was to pretend to be really bored until you got onto the meerkats, and then be really excited. But we didn't get there, so we just have to pretend that's what happens.
Okay. Should we go back and reshoot it? Should we do a reshoot?
No, I think we should leave it raw and unfiltered.
No.
Like the Snyder Cut.
Yes. Yes.
One thing I will say about that I was really thinking about in this episode is like I feel like Anakin and Obi Wan feel like Anakin and Obi Wan, but I don't feel like Padme feels like Padme.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think she has the same energy as she does in the films.
I agree with you there, because I think it's easier to caricature Anakin and Obi-Wan from the movies of, do you know what I mean? Like Obi-Wan, you just have to make him a bit of a troll. Yeah. You've got his personality. Anakin, you just have to make him moody, a bit impatient. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas Padme, particularly like when you think about her in the context of the third movie, she's a plot-based character. She gets more to do in like Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, but I agree with you in the sense that like, it's harder to get the vibe down for Padme, but I appreciate how much they've given her to do, and Jar Jar.
Oh, 100%.
That's true.
And justice for Jar Jar, always.
Yeah,
I love him.
Watching these Clone Wars episodes, I feel like the intent behind Jar Jar is clearer than ever, in that he, in a world of lightsabers and warriors and stuff, he's supposed to be the Buster Keaton, isn't he? He's supposed to be bumbling around, doing a bit of your slapstick, you get a bit of a laugh, and then it turns out, oh wait, this butterfly that Jar Jar's been trying to eat is actually the clue that will get us to the next place. Like, that's always so fun to watch.
I love that as well. I love seeing him
definitely
slip on that stick. Like they do a close up of the twig, and then he steps on it. And I don't. I mean, I think they've. I love that, like you said, Matt. They've just gone in on the Jar Jar stuff, and with no fucks to if like people care about fucking like they don't like Jar Jar. I like they just went in with it, and they've just completely owned it, and like. It proves to me even more like what George Lucas's vision was for him with the Clone Wars. I feel like it fits perfect because like you're seeing all this comedic element. You're seeing the stuff that's like for the kids. You understand that. Like every kid loves Jar Jar. I don't know many kids that don't like Jar Jar. Like let's be real here. Like people that grew up with those movies, I think people will be like, oh, I must admit I did like Jar Jar as a kid. Do you know what I mean? Like people say that, and I think like I'm watching the show and I'm like, I totally understand.
As a kid.
Exactly.
I know everybody has a soft spot for Jar Jar in their heart, and I'm going to keep going until I prove it.
Well, Terry, I do think you have a soft spot for is Captain Typho.
I had high eyes for him when I was a kid. I used to think he
That's
was
amazing.
so handsome. And the way he just like
That's so
looked
funny.
after Padme and he was like, it's all clear, it's all okay. I was like, he's so gentle and nice.
I think it's so interesting that you fancied him, because all I ever remember is, well, I guess there was no danger at all.
Same.
So I was wrong. There was no danger at all.
But it was just the way he said it. He's just like, I guess there's no danger at all. And he's so gentle, and
Yeah.
I would trust him to look after me too.
To be fair, he is quite badass when Anakin and Padme are walking off to go hide, and Kenobi's like worried Anakin's gonna do something irrational, and he's like, I'd be more worried about her doing something than him. Because obviously he spent so much time around her, he knows she's a maverick. I really like that they've taken that character who has a small part in Attack of the Clones, but is a lot of fun. And he's in a couple of Clone Wars episodes, including this one. He's got a great design with the Nick Fury eye patch.
The outfit's cool.
Yeah, the outfit's great. Yeah, I hope we get to see more of him across Clone Wars. I hope it's not just like a couple of episodes.
I'm going to become one of those weird people that are like obsessed with the tiniest character in the franchise, aren't I? I'm just going to become Captain Typho's #1 fan.
I always think stuff like that is quite sweet, though, because I think the reason why people find it easier to latch onto those characters is because we're given less of them. Do you know what I mean? It's like Captain Typho, it's like, how can you hate this guy? He's got an eye patch, a gun, and he hangs out with Padme Amidala, and he's got a name like Captain Typho. Like, of course he's a tank. Whereas, you know, they might do a sequel story with Anakin or Luke or Rey that, you know, flips everything on its head. And I think as well, with something like this, a bit character, you can project what you want onto them. No one's ever going to take that away from you. Do you know what I mean? No one's ever going to do a Captain Typho movie where your perception of him is deemed wrong. Whereas the big...
I want a Captain Typho movie. Let's do it.
It's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
But what you just said, Matt, is the basis of Boba Fett. I mean, his whole existence is based off of, that guy looks cool. You know, everything we've had since. I mean, he's barely in, you know, the movies, isn't he? In the original trilogy, and you know, he's like one of the most popular characters in Star Wars because he looks cool and he does some cool stuff. Do you know what I mean?
So let's Boba Fett Captain Typho. It's up to you guys at home. Join us on this fight.
I would love them to take, rather than doing like Solo a Star Wars story or like Rogue One, all these like big moments in Star Wars that we're just trying to connect to, Captain Typho off on his own little adventure for 90 minutes. I mean, similar to, I guess, kind of what they've done with this Andor thing. Yeah. Although, I don't like that it's a prequel, we know he's going to die. Like, whereas something like Captain Typho, we don't know what happens to him. Yeah. You don't see him in episode 3. What happens to him at the end of the Clone Wars? Like, you could totally go off and just tell whatever you wanted. It's
true.
You just made me have a little thought that I just want to express my excitement for. Is Andor, did you say?
Andor, yeah.
Andor, yes. They're filming that on the beach, back at home, and I recognise the beach, and it's so weird to see all the Star Wars like characters and sets on like Cleveley's beach. That's cool. I used to go to that beach all the time.
Oh yeah, they're filming in Blackpool, aren't they?
Yeah, they're filming in Cleveley's, which is it's like the whole place. It's like, it makes sense because like there's like these like big like sandy coloured stone steps and things like that onto a beach. Yeah. So it does feel like really like Tatooine-y.
Interesting.
But it's so like, imagine if you just saw stormtroopers walking around Welling, like.
Well, yeah, I saw some set photos of some stormtroopers by like a very British beach railing.
Yeah,
and I was like, that is just so weird to look at.
That's the beach. That's the beach.
It was like when Rogue One was filmed in Canary Wharf Station. That was a weird one. Cause we was like, oh, what? Because, I mean, we've been so used to, for years, everything being shot in America. And it's only been like the past 10, 15 years. Things have been shot more over here. And like now we're starting to see more iconography of London and stuff. And it's very weird to see these things for us. You know what I mean? It's just not what you think of when you think Hollywood movie.
I don't know if you remember, maybe it was particularly weird for us with the Rogue One trailer because we were on that line. We went from Canning Town and we were watching the trailer. So like we'd literally moments ago just seen the exact location and then popped up on the trailer. And it's so bizarre. It really does take that veneer away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You see a set like that and you're like, oh, that's a train station, a British train station. Any more thoughts on Blue Shadow Virus? One thing I've written down in my notes is it sounds like a Metal Gear Solid thing.
I just want to talk about the moment where Matt was like, those cows are so cute, and then like 10 seconds later they were dead.
Oh yeah. It was just a close up of one of them with its tongue out.
Matt was like gushing about them, like, they're so cute, I love them so much, and then suddenly it's like,
yeah, they are cute.
They're
big bums and like they're just cute. Yeah, I didn't like seeing him die.
Yeah, that was sad.
No. But again, I like that visual storytelling of, oh, she's about to drink. The cow's dead. Okay, I'm going to rethink this. It's nice. Also, great seeing all the Naboo locations from Phantom Menace. Really feel like they one-to-one recreated the planet. Wasn't there something, Charlie, you were saying when we watched it? When they're out in the fields, you said it looked like something.
Yeah, it looked like Sagat's stage on Street Fighter. Like, it exactly like it with the, like, kind of Buddha's head.
Yeah.
I really wanted that to be something that I knew what it was. I was there like...
I'll show you a picture after this. I'll cut it into this...
okay,
I'll cut it
cool.
into the cut down.
Fantastic. I thought it looked a bit like the Windows 95 screensaver at points.
Also, well, that's what always part looks like anyway in Attack of the Clones
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun episode, and I'm excited to see how it wraps up next week. And then, of course, guys, we have next week the Ryloth 3-parter and the finale, and then that is season 1 done and dusted.
Yep.
Exciting.
I think from here on out, we can see how we want to play it by ear, but I think we might do more bulk reviews, like
Yes.
a couple of them in one episode.
And we'll try not to talk about bullying right in the middle of them next time.
Charlie, were you about to inform me we have less than a minute left of the Zoom recording?
Yes. I don't know how much we got left.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, in that case, I'm going to point out that our socials are on the screen for video viewers at home. But if you are listening to the audio, you can catch me on Twitter at FullFatVideos, on Instagram at full_fat_videos. Charlie.
You can catch me on Your Fat Film is Awful on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter at FabFilm is Awful, and my personal account at Charlie Lilly. Terry, go.
You can find me as Teri Merkin, Terim.
No! Oh no!
We've still got the sound. Terimurkin, Teri Merkin, on everything really. Mostly Twitch. Follow me on Twitch.